Okay, in the last class also we were doing some pandas operations and we studied different operations that were possible, right? We deal with the missing values, how to drop the rows, how to access the rows, how to fill in the missing values and everything, right? Now we also studied several filter operations as well. Next time, what I am going to do today is another very important operation, which is known as group by. Understand that properly. Group by. It's very important. So before starting that, let me import some data and make it a data frame. So how do I do that? Everyone knows pd.read underscore CSV. And suppose again I'm taking the same data set, that is Titanic data set. Titanic.csv. PD. Okay, sorry, I forgot an important step. I didn't import the pandas library. Import pandas as PD. Okay, and import numpy as n. Perfectly done. Okay, now I can execute it. Done. I can check the top 5 rows again as usual. tf.head. Perfectly fine. Again, a problem. I can solve it again by using the sept equals to quotes at the rate. Perfectly executed. Yep, done. So we are ready now to perform some operations on our data set which is available to you. And the operation that we are going to perform is group by. Now understand what is group by, and you are going to use it a lot. You are going to use it. Okay. For example, there are some data set and you want to perform some aggregation information. Some aggregation means taking some groups, taking some rows together and performing some calculation. For example, what I want to know what is the, understand, what is the average age of the males candidate in the ship? Average age of males candidate in the ship. Okay, or what is the total fare of all the female candidates in the ship? So how will I do that? First of all, example, I'm taking a column known as sex column. Okay, I'm taking a column known as sex column, and I want, what I want to do, I want to group the entire data set based on this sex column only. So what I want, when the male comes, only the rows corresponding to male should be grouped in one group. Only the rows corresponding to male sections should be grouped together. Similarly, only the rows corresponding to the female candidates should be grouped together. Understand what I am saying? Are you getting my point? I want grouping means I want some operation on the group wise. So for example, I have a male here, right? I have males here, females here, but I want some information based on the entities like male and female. So what I want all the rows in this data frame corresponding to males grouped together. So that once they are grouped together means I am seeing only the rows which are corresponding to the males. Certainly, I can perform some operation on that. Similarly, if I'm able to see the rows corresponding to females only, I will be able to perform some operations on that. So this thing means grouping the rows together by a column, right? That is possible with the help of group by. We will be easily able to do that. Okay, means it allows you to group rows together based off a column name. Are you getting my point? What I said? What's our objective is? We want some information, example, male wise, female wise, because we will have lots of entries of males and females. If we go here and explore our data set, and instead of 5 rows, let me explore 50 rows. Okay, so we can see we have several male, female, male, female, male, female, male, female, lots of things are there. I want to make some consent based on the male only. Okay, I want to make some consent on the female only. I'm just giving an example. Are you getting my point? Or I want to, for example, in the passenger class, we have 3 things only, 3, 1, and 2. I want to make some conclusion based on passenger class 3 or class 2 or class 1. So what I want to say, I'm saying group by. Now the things will come group by. Group by what? You have to tell them which column you want to group by. According to which column you want to group by your data set. Now, is it clear what's the objective is? If that is clear, please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Everyone, please. Okay, the objective is clear. I want to group my data set by some column. Okay, so what will happen if I am selecting sex, then entire data set will be grouped by, means it allows the rows to be grouped together based on this sex column. Means we will have two sets, one corresponding to male and one corresponding to female. Okay, two set of rows. Similarly, if we select according to passenger class, then we will have how many groups we will have? We will have three groups. One corresponding to passenger class 1, one corresponding to passenger class 2, one corresponding to passenger class 3. If I use survived, then I will have two groups again. One corresponding to not survived, one corresponding to survived. And once we have the group, we can perform some aggregation. Any operation means sum them, count them, tell the minimum value, tell the maximum value according to that group only, that particular group only. Now, I hope things are very much clear to everyone. If any doubt, please let me know now. Immediately let me know. Are you getting the point? What is the objective of group by? Actually, those people who have studied SQL, they must have heard this word, group by. It's very common in the your structured query language, SQL thing. Is it okay, everyone? What do you mean by group by? Can anybody of you
Yes, sir.
explain me in layman language what is a group by? Anyone? I'm repeating again. It allows you to group your rows according to a particular column. Okay, as I told you, I have 887 something rows in this, and I want to group those rows into as many categories as many available in the sex column. So I have two categories only, male and female. So I want to make two groups of them. I want to make two groups of them, one male separate, one female separate. That is nothing but group by. And when I said I want to group by passenger class, so what I'm saying, how many groups I want to make? Tell me. How many
Three.
groups? Yes, very good. If I'm saying survived, then how many groups I am planning to make?
Two.
Yes. So everyone got an idea now. Okay. Everyone got an idea what is group by will do. So let me take this. So what I'm going to do now, I'm saying df dot group by. Okay. And here you will tell which column you want to group by. According to which column you want to group by. And here, suppose I want to group by a column known as sex. So that's sure I'm going to get two groups. Okay. Because it has only two values. So I'm running this. Let me run this. Okay. I'm able to achieve that. It's saying that it's an object data frame group by object at certain memory location. This is the memory location which is mentioned here. Now what I want to do, I have able to group them. Now I want to perform some operations on them. Okay. I want to perform some operations on them. So how will I do? There are two ways, but let me tell you the simpler way. Normally I don't adopt that, but let me show. Suppose I assign this value to a variable. Let the variable name is instead of df, I mentioned gf example. Okay. And pass this value to this. Okay. Now it is done. Now I can apply. I know it has been grouped as per the categories inside the sex. Now I can apply some aggregation operation. For example, what I want to apply, come to that. What I want to apply mean operation. Means something, aggregation means when we are working on a group of rows. So I want to sum them, or I want to find their standard deviation. I want to find out their mean value or something, whatever I want to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to type gf dot, see properly, mean. gf dot mean. Okay. So do you think we can find mean of this name column? Can we find the mean? Mean means average. Can we find average of this column? Name?
No, sir.
Perfect. Perfect. Now see what is going to happen. Let me run this and check it. Check it what I'm getting. I got two groups, female and male. What it did, it took every column, like survived column, found its a numeric value. Okay, I can find out its mean. So it summed them and find out its average. That is mean value. So mean value of survived column is, for females, it is 0.7428 and males, it is 0.1929. From here only, I can get an idea, right? Who survived more, males or females? You can tell me right now, immediately. Who survived more? Females, right? Females, right? Similarly, P class. This is P class average. a mean value. This is age average, means the mean age of females traveling in the Titanic was 27.71. Okay, and mean age of the males traveling on the Titanic were 30.43. Okay, so every numeric column it took the mean. Every numeric column it took the mean. Average fare the females paid was 44.47. The average fare the males paid was 25.63. We get a summary. Is it fine, everyone? Please tell me.
Yes.
See properly
Yes,
and tell
sir.
me. If any doubt, then tell me, please. And you can see it's a data frame only, right? It's a data frame. It's a data frame. So we can access this element easily. Can we access that or not? Suppose I put a bracket here, and inside that bracket, suppose I put example age, something like that. Okay. See, I'm able to access. Age is 27 of the female average age, mean age, and the mean age of males were 30.43. If I want more columns, it's up to me. I'll put a square bracket like a list. And suppose I want to know age and fare. Okay. I think I don't know fare is capital or small. It's capital. Okay. Fare. What happened? So miss. Oh, I forgot to put one list. See. Is it fine, everyone? So I can get easily information by male and female. Now everyone got an idea what is a group by. Any doubt in this? Please let me know immediately. Please, everyone. Any doubt?
No doubt, sir.
Okay. Similarly, we can do other things. So we have already make our this GF to be our data frame, right? So we can apply other. For example, we find out mean. We can find out standard deviation as well. Same way, GF. Sorry, GF dot standard deviation. Yeah, it will give me a standard deviation of males and females in individual columns. You will find out for survived column what it is, for P class column what it is, whatever you want to find out, almost everything is there. Suppose I want to find out minimum age, right? Minimum age among the males and females. So what I have to just type GF dot min, whatever means every parameters min means survived, what is the min value, P class, what is the min value, age, what is the min value, siblings, parents, fare, everything you will got. And even now you can see, you see the alphabets as well. Why? Because in this case, it is treating alphabet as a number from 1, 2, 3, 4 up to how many characters you are having inside your alphabets, right? From A to Z. Similarly, if I do max, you will see now I'm seeing D and C, right? For the males, starting from D. Sorry, for the females, it's starting from D. For males, it is starting from C, right? Similarly, I can have something like as well. Max. You will get maximum parameter for everyone. Maximum passenger class is 3. Survived, only 2 options are there. The maximum is 1 only. Here the C minimum in case it was 0. And now see we are getting TNS. You got an idea how it is sorting. It is sorting alphabetically. Maximum female age was what? 63. Okay. And maximum male age was 80. Fare they paid equally. 54 cents. See, someone also traveled on free as well. If you see the above one, minimum, see, somebody paid only 0 fare. We never know. He received some kind of consolation prizes or all. So these can be your analysis questions. Means somebody you are going to a company and they may give you a sheet, and in this sheet they may ask you, please tell me, was it the case someone traveled for free? What is his name? Tell me. If he traveled, what was his name? What was his age? Something like that. So all these things you can do easily. I hope you get an idea now. Is it fine, everyone? It's a very, very important function, the group by is. Please tell me. I'm waiting.
It is fine, sir.
Perfect. Okay. You want to find the count? You can do one more thing. Come here and use this same Control C GF count. See, we got an idea. They were in total. Everything is a count only. So we have 314 females were there overall because we are having the same values, and 573 males were present. Okay, so it is giving me count as well. Perfect. Okay, even you want to find out statistics of this. Okay, according to male and female. So what I can do, I can type gf dot describe method. gf dot describe, it will give statistical summary. So let me run this. And you see, I got. Okay, for every column count, mean, standard deviation. Okay, min value 25 percentile, 50 percentile, 75 percentile. This is standard deviation, right? This is mean. This is 25 percentile. This is 50 percentile. This is 75 percentile. This is max. Now the variables started for passenger class and everything. Right? Do you have an idea about this 25 percentile? This is not percentage. This is percentile. 50 percentile, 75 percentile. Any idea about it, this thing? Are you people preparing for the gate?
So in this, highest value will be considered as 100 and other
Which one?
values are
In which?
calculated based on that.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Okay.
It's not, percentile is not there. Have you ever given a gate examination? Other people who have given the gate examination? Actually, percentile is what? Suppose I gave a gate examination, okay? And I got a 99 percentile. What does it mean? I got a 99 percentile. What does it mean? 99 percentile means that 99 persons are below me. Are you getting my point? Or 99% values are below me. Is it fine what I'm saying? Please tell me. 99% values are below me. Suppose I'm saying 25 percentile. So what I can say? 25 percentile. That means what? Are you getting my point? 25% values are below me and 75% values are above me. I hope it is making sense now. Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Similarly, 50 percentile means 50% values are below me. Values are below me. Not, it is not percentage, right? Are you getting my point? Suppose somebody, there was an examination and somebody scored 90. He's the topper. Okay. He's the topper. So what will be his percentile? Can anybody tell me?
100 percentile.
Yes, 100 percentile. I've even got an idea perfectly. If he get maximum mark, he has a 100 percentile. Right? Is it okay, everyone? Understand the difference between percentage and percentile. So if I'm saying 25 percentile, that means 25% values are below me and 75% values are above me. If I'm saying 50 percentile, means 50% values are below me and 50% values are above me. That means basically if you've heard the word median, this is same. If you've heard the word ever median is nothing but this 50 percentile. And what is 75 percentile? Again, 75% values are below me. Okay.
Sir,
And yes, please.
sir, if one person get 100, so that time I can say means his percentile is 100%. Okay.
Don't take it 100 to be 100%. No, I'm not saying that. Listen to my words properly. What I'm saying. Suppose you give an exam. Have you given gate examination? In which year you are, Rama?
Yes, sir, I have given.
Okay. So how the gate score is calculated? See, suppose somebody received 90 marks. Okay. And he is the topper.
Yes,
He is the topper. He's the topper. Get my point? Highest marks he secured
yes,
is
sir.
90. He's the topper. So his percentile will be
Sir,
considered as 100.
if more than one person gets same number, so that time what will be the
So
percentile?
both will be same because both are in the same
Both will
category.
be
Na?
same.
Yes, both are in the same category. Both are in the
Okay,
same
okay,
category,
sir.
na? Right or wrong?
Oh,
Both are under the same category. As simple as that.
okay.
Because
Okay, sir.
simple. How do we calculate? Don't see behind, so then see how many people are above me. How many people are above me. Normally what happens if you see the gate score, then what they do normally, what happens is, if people are having equal marks, okay, then if you have given a JEE examination or something also, they do something, internal calculation. Suppose they want to make a rank, everybody cannot be given the rank 1, right? Everyone cannot be given the rank 1. So internally they again migrate. Okay, this person and this person, I'm not saying it is always followed, but normally it follows. This person got 90 marks, this person got 90 marks. Which was the most toughest person in this? Okay, this was the toughest portion. So let me check. Among these two, who scored more marks in that tougher portion? I will give him above rank and second person will come below me. Is it okay? Is it fine now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So normally this is the way the percentile is being calculated. How many values are below is, or how many percentage values are above. That is how the percentile is calculated. I hope it makes sense now. If marks are 75 and he is the highest scorer, he will be known as 100 percentile. He will be having 100 percentile. I hope it's clearly sense. If you can create your percentile from 10 marks exam only, you can easily create. Okay, suppose he received 10 marks. If suppose exam, there were 10 people. I'm giving simplest example. There were 10 people who gave exam. Someone secured 1 mark, someone 2 marks, someone 3, someone 4, someone 5, and the topper secured 10 marks. So he will be known as 100 percentile, right? And why? Because nobody is above them, or 100% people are below him, for sure. 100% people are below him. Okay, somebody who secured 9 marks, then what we will say, right? 10% people are above them, or 90% people are below them. I hope it is fine now. Okay, so we can find the statistics easily with the help of this function as well. So I'm moving ahead. I hope it is clear. Okay, and
Yes, sir.
you can make it look better as well. If you want to do, you can make a transpose of this. You can make a transpose of this. You'll get things this way. Now it looks bit better, right? Now you can see easily for survive, what is the count, what is the mean, what is the standard deviation for males and females. This looks better. So these things will come with the practice. Immediately I saw that, okay, this is not, I'm not able to get the proper insight of the data because some rows have been grouped together in between. So I'm not able to get the proper data. Immediately came to my mind, it is not a proper way. Let me transpose that. Those who are from mathematics background, they must have aware of the transpose. Converting rows into columns and columns into rows is nothing but transpose. So I just did that and I get a perfect view now. For every column, I can check what's happening. Is it fine, everyone? See, now it looks beautiful, I guess. And you can check every parameter's detailed statistics. How much is this? Okay. For example, let's say fair. Okay. How many, you can see from 314 entries were there, 573 entries were there. Mean fair for females were 44. Mean fair for those were 25. Standard deviation was 57. Standard deviation was 43. Minimum fair the female paid was 6.74. Male paid was 0. 25 percentile is 12. Here 7.89. Here 50 percentile is 23. It is 11. Here it is 55. Here it is 27. Maximum value is 512. Same fair. So every statistics you can see from here. I hope it is fine now. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'm moving ahead now. The different operations. Okay. So suppose I have few columns with me, or same data set I'm referring. Suppose DF. This is my DF. Okay. Now suppose what I want to know in any particular column, I want to see unique values. For example, this here itself. Here itself, it is coming 313. I'm not able to see, although I know from the data set, there are only 3 values, but I want to see. Suppose I got a 10,000 rows or 50,000 rows data set. I want to know how many unique values are there in this data set, or how many unique values are there in a particular column. Then what I can go, simply, I can grab that column inside the DF. Suppose the column is your P class only. P class. This is the name. Okay. See, this is the column. What I have to type, just type dot. There is a method known as unique method. Unique method, and it will return me an array of all the unique values. Let me run that. Okay. See, immediately I got an array of 3 unique values. 3, 1, and 2. So I got it. Okay, 3 values are there. Now suppose if I ask you, give me the number, how many unique values are there? Okay. Give me the number, how many unique values are there? Two ways to do that. Two ways. One, it's an array. I can check its length by using the len function directly. I know it's returning array. Told me, okay, fine. 3 elements are there. There is one more way. There is one more way and more convenient. See, I have to just type n unique there. Just changes to n unique. It is telling me number of unique values. So it will give me how many unique passenger classes were there. Okay, how many unique passenger classes were there? So for every column, sometimes it will be required. I want to search how many unique values are there. So you will be easily able to find out. You want the values, then use the unique method. You want just their number. Just tell me how many unique values are there. You can come from here. Okay. For example, there is a machine learning task maybe there where a target column is given to you. Okay, and several rows are missed. And somebody may ask you, okay, tell me how many classes are there in your target variable. So what I will do, I will again use same thing. Just change my column name. It should be 2 only, right? So I'm typing here survived. It is giving me 2. I just have 2 values there, 2 unique values. And we know we want to see them, then just remove this and I will get the values of them. 2 values, 0 and 1. Okay, I want their number, just use it. Fine. So this is one way of knowing how many unique values are there in a particular column. But that is very important. Whenever we do any machine learning project, first of all, these kind of analysis are done. How many values are there? How many classes are there in particular column? We want to identify them. Okay, and their data type automatically comes here. See, it's mentioned integer 64. I'm able to easily find out that. Okay, now suppose I want to know how many males were there or how many females were there. I want to know this. As simple as that. So again, I'm doing same thing. df, which column I want to know? Sex column is there. Okay, and I'm going to type here. I'm going to type here dot. Okay, I'm going to type here dot count method. Okay, count at which count I want. Suppose I want to count value underscore counts method. Value underscore counts method I want. And let's see what it will return. It is immediately telling me males are 573, females are 340. Okay, males are 573, females are 340, and that is very important data set. Very, very important, because an important interview question. They will give you a data set. Normally, interview doesn't happen to the data science that they will ask you only questions verbally. Normally, when you are going to give a data science interview or machine learning interview, they will give you a data set, and they will immediately give you data set. They will be remaining online, sharing your screen. They will tell you, please tell me this data set is balanced or not. Immediately they will ask you, tell me whether my data set is balanced or not. How do we find out balanced or not? We look our target column. Suppose in this case, my target is what? Just to predict based on these parameters. Based on these parameters, just predict whether the person will survive or not. Okay, this is my history which is available. This is history, and saying that if the same circumstances appear, and if I put passenger class, name, sex, age, siblings, and you have to predict that whether the person will be survive or not. So how will I come to know? How will I come to know that data set is balanced or not? So what happens is that, again, same thing I can do for survived column. Same thing I will be doing for survived column. Okay, and it will tell me whether my data set is balanced or not. Okay. It is telling me 0 for 545 means most of the people died, right? And 342 is survived. So is it balanced? Balance normally means that if we have two categories, here we have two categories only, died, survived. If both have equal number of rows in your data set, perfect equal number of rows, or somehow similar, not perfect, somebody is 550, somebody is 450, almost balanced, not perfectly balanced, but almost balanced. So we call that kind of data set, means you are giving and every chance your model to build perfectly. Okay, you're giving your model to be chance to be built perfectly. If you're giving your PR, suppose I'm taking an opinion poll. Let us take an example, okay? And I went to a locality where the supporter of BJP lives only. What they will say, sir, only BJP will win. BJP will win. I came there and went and I made a conclusion, BJP will win. That's wrong because I went to an area where everyone belongs to the BJP. Similarly, I went to an area of Congress where everyone is saying Congress, 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 Congress. I cannot get an idea. But suppose I went to an area where people of mixed community lives and there are equal chances, Congress and BJP. Then you can tell me in which case my prediction will be right. Perfectly BJP, perfect Congress, or a mixed area. Please tell me which case my prediction will be right of election.
Mixed, yeah.
Yes, mixed means you should train your model. You should train your model in a manner that it is able to get the properties for the person died. What are the properties? And same way, give them the chance to predict the model based on the person survived the mobility. So if your data set is having almost equal number of rows for all the categories, your data set is balanced. If it is not the case, it is known as imbalanced data set. And if you are going to do the imbalanced data set, then what is going to happen? The more number of rows the category is having, it is going to predict that better. And if you are having less number of rows for the other category, those are not going to perform better. Okay, so that's why it is very much necessary to check that your data set is balanced or not. So immediately I can make a conclusion. It is not perfectly balanced. Somehow it is there, somehow imbalance is there, but not perfectly balanced. But I can make a prediction from because my data set is like this only. There are several methods to deal with imbalanced data set as well. Okay, even if you want to see a visual thing of this, see how easily I can do that. Value.counts dot plot dot bar graph. I can see same thing. See, I get an information. Immediately I get an information. I just typed after that dot plot dot bar. What I'm saying, out of the values that you are telling me, just plot the bar graph. It immediately threw me a bar graph. Okay. Zeroth category, remember, unsurvived was above 500. The survived were 1. And this is the better way of looking than this way, 573, 340. Everyone's like visuals. Okay. Everyone like visuals. So it is better. You can see immediately very less people survive. And similarly, same thing you can do with the gender as well. Suppose I want to this males and females. It will be better. Dot plot dot bar. Okay. Immediately so. Males for more, females for less. Is it fine, everyone? Please tell me, is it fine till this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now moving ahead. Now, actually, what is going to happen in the coming future that we will be having our data set where I will be needing some kind of transformation. Some kind of data set will be given to me, and that data set will be having skewness, means data is either considered on the left hand side or the right hand side. That slowly we will be understanding that, and we will be requiring some operations on particular column. We will be requiring some operations on some particular columns. So how can we do that? How can we apply an operation and function on individual columns of this data frame? Okay, directly I want to apply some operation. So how can I do? Very simple thing I can do. Suppose I'm creating a function def and operation name is times. Okay, and it takes an argument x. And simply it returns suppose twice of x. Okay, this is my function, simple function. Now what I can do, let me take any column. Suppose I'm taking a column known as fair only. Okay? This is a fair column. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my fair column. Okay? Fair column. And after that, I'm typing apply. There's another method inside this. Apply. And within this apply, just put your function name that you have created. Just put your function name like times. Okay, just put your function name like times, run it, and you can see the 0th row is showing 14.50. Let me go at the top, see what it was. 7.25. Second is was 71.28. Now you check, it is 142.56. Okay, so if you want to modify any column, very easily you can do that. If you have a function, directly use that function inside the apply, and your entire column will be affected by that function. Entire column will be affected by that function. If you don't have a function, don't worry. You can do same task again without creating a function. Remember, how can we do that without creating a function? Any idea? Remember, we have studied that. How can I do that? Without creating a named function. I created a named function known as times. I don't want to create a named function. What should I do? Please, I'm waiting.
Lambda function, sir.
Yes, very good. Very good. Lambda functions, right? We can apply lambda function. Very easy. Same function we can apply. How? I will type lambda, right? X, only one variable needs to be there. And what we need? I need just 2 multiply by x. Right? Just run it. You get the same output. You will get the same output. It's very important. You are going to do that for sure. You are going to do that for sure, because whenever your data will be skewed, you will see that when we are doing some machine learning project, you will see that whenever our data is skewed data never gives us proper machine learning model. So we have to deal with that skewness. And for that, we have to perform some transformation like taking log or taking a square of the column. And that way, you need to apply some kind of function there. Okay, so you can either create a function, apply there, or you can directly use your lambda function without creation of that. I hope it is okay. Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, even you can apply your own functions as well. Okay, this way I'm applying. Suppose what I want to do, I'm taking a column, let's say any column which is having a string. So that is, I guess, gender male is gender, sorry, 6 column is there, 6. Okay, I mentioned that dot apply. And suppose I want to know the length of each element of this sex column. I can pass directly my function, built-in function, that is length function. Okay, it will give me the length. 2 names are there, only males and females. So male having M-A-L-E, 4 letters, and female F-E-M-A-L-E, 6 letters. So I can directly apply your built-in functions as well. If these are available, just pass into that. It will directly be applied. Okay, it can directly be applied there. You can easily use that. Yet there are several other functions also you can use. Other functions also which you can use very, very easily. Okay, for example, we want to sum of fares. Okay, fare. I want to do sum of all the elements. I can easily do that. It will telling me total amount paid. Total fare was 28564. Or you want to find maximum value. You can do that easily, same way. Fare dot max. Okay, you want to find minimum fare. Again, you can use easily. Okay, everyone. Is it fine till this point, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now suppose I'm doing different thing now. I'm coming to the sorting. Sometimes you will be requiring your data frame to be sorted. Okay, so I'm doing sorting. How can we do the sorting? So let me go to my data frame once again. This is my data frame. And suppose I want to sort my data frame as per the age column. Okay, I want to sort my column, sort my data frame as per the age column. So what I can do, I can simply type df dot sort underscore values. Okay, and within that, you can type the argument by equals to which column you want to, according to which column you want to sort them. Suppose each column. I'm just typing here each within string, your column name. That's it. Do this. You can see at the top, we are getting least stage, then increasing, then increasing, then increasing. At the last, we are saying 80. Okay, so I sorted my data. See the rows, you can see the data has been sorted. My rows number have been shuffled all together. Rows number have been shuffled all together. This is one of the ways. Somebody asks you, please show me the details of the person who is having the minimum age. Immediately do it. Immediately do it without writing any filtering expression. How quickly I can get it? How quickly I can get it? Right or wrong? Tell me how quickly I can get it? Immediately sort it out. Right? Somebody wants to know, okay, tell me the details of the person who is having the maximum age. Instead of using filtering, just type this and you get immediately results of everyone. This is the result that we saw last day as well. Okay, we can easily sort our data frame by the help of any column without any issue. We can easily sort. Okay, and by default, if you will check, it has sorted, but it has not occurred inside here. If you check here, it is not like this. It is same as it was. See, no change has been occurred. It is like that only. In syntaxes. So if you want to save it permanently, you know what I need to do? I have to come here, and here there should be a column known as in place for sure. See, in place equals to false. So whenever you are executing something, okay, whenever you are performing some operation, please go inside and check at least in place is there or not. Okay, if in place is there, then deal with it properly. Okay, otherwise you won't get your data the way you want. You will think, okay, I have done this thing, my data is perfectly all right. So always double check your data, which function needs in place and which function doesn't need in place. Okay, so the function which doesn't need in place, they can deal easily. This is fine. Okay, similarly, if I want to check the null values of anything, I think we have studied that already. You can directly type df.isNull. It will tell you the empty values. If any available in the data frame will be available here. Okay, everywhere I think it is showing false. And if we can check out also, if I this is a data frame, if I can apply dot sum, see it is telling me in every column there is no null values, means no missing values. Okay, means this give me only true and false, going with the result of true and false, but this way I'm not able to get because I'm not able to see the middle values. Okay, I'm not able to see the middle values. So better way is what to know that any column is having missing value or not. Just go there, df.isNull, type dot sum function, sum them. Okay, and it will return. Everywhere is false. That's why false is considered as 0. So 0, 0, 0, 0 for every 0 is 0 only. That's why I'm getting there is no missing value in this entire data set. So one problem is not there. This is one of the biggest problem which happens in the bigger data set. You will have lot of time missing values. But luckily, and how to check it simply. This is the interview question. This is what I mentioned. How you can check missing values in an entire data frame. You simply say, sir, there is a function known as isNull. I will, after that, I will type dot sum. So I will aggregate everything and I will come the details about every column. If every column is having, and you know how to deal with them. We studied how to deal with the missing values yesterday. You can drop the rows having missing values or you can fill any. Remember, we studied two things. Either we can drop the missing value rows or we can fill any, means we can fill the details where we want, where there is a missing value. Okay, this is very important EDA method. And I think not tomorrow, that probably tomorrow I'll give you a project as well. And that project will be a data analysis. You have to do complete data analysis. Okay, this will be a task will be given to you and you have to do the complete data analysis of the same. It's a project on the basis of whatever you have studied. Or case study will be there. Okay, a case study will be there and that you have to solve it yourself. Okay, that you have to solve. I'll give you tomorrow, and by that you will get an idea how to use it properly. Please think, and any doubt till now, please let me know. I'm waiting. Any doubt whatsoever, please. I'm waiting.
No doubt, sir.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, now a bit complex things start. Till now, we are just dealing small things, but till now, if you are familiar with the SQL, these things will be easier for you. If you have not studied SQL, it may sound a bit complex, but I will try to explain you as simple as possible. As simple as possible. Okay. So suppose first operation that I'm going to do is your concatenation. See, actually what now we are doing, until now we were dealing with only one data frame, right? We were dealing only with one data set, that was example Titanic data set. Okay, but in industry that will not be the case. In industry that will not be the case. Industry may have several offices, somewhere in Pune, somewhere in Maharashtra, somewhere here. Okay, and you may get data set from everywhere, and you have to work not on one Excel file or CSV file. You may have to work on 4, 5, 6, 7, even 20, even 1,000 your CSV files at a time. So till now we were working, whatever we were doing, that we were doing only on one CSV file or one data frame. But scenarios may be there, you may have multiple data frames or multiple CSV files. For that purpose, sometimes you have to combine them. Okay, you have to combine them. So there are different procedures how to deal with multiple CSV files or multiple data sets rather. That is a proper word. Your data set is coming from multiple sources. The first thing is 100% sure, read from every data source, wherever it is, and convert that into a data frame. That you know how to do that, but simply doing pd.read. If it's Excel file, read with the Excel method. If it is SQL file, read with the SQL method. If it is HTML file, read with the HTML. If it's your CSV file, read with the CSV method. Read them and bring them and make them your data frame. This is first requirement you will do. Okay, so what will be the first requirement in case of multiple data sets? I will collect all the data and make them individual data frames first of all. Example, I made something df1, df2, df3, df4, df5, and bring them inside your Jupyter notebook. Your half of the work has been done. Once you read all this thing, half of the work has been done. Now the things changing. Now you have to combine them as per your requirement. Okay, so now we will be dealing with multiple data frames. So that for that first purpose is concatenation. It is nothing but gluing data frames together. In easier word, these are nothing but you are gluing your data frames together. For that purpose, I think I've pasted somewhere in the notepad 2 data frames. Yeah, these are the 2 data frames. So let me copy them. And you can take, I'm creating 2 data frames. One is known as data 1. So this is my one data set. Sorry, this is my data set data 1. And it is nothing but, can you tell me which data structure it is? And what is the data structure of data 2? Anyone can tell me? Which data structure
Dictionary,
it is?
sir.
Yes, perfect. It's a dictionary, right? Easiest way to create your data frame, create dictionary. Okay, whatever column name you are suggesting, put that inside your key. Put inside your key, and whatever values you want for that particular column, pack them inside your list. Okay. For example, data 1 is saying that I need to create a table in which I will have 2 columns, A and B. So 2 keys are there. The values corresponding to A are these. Values corresponding to B are these. Okay. So A column will be having value A0, A1, A2, A3. Column B will be having value B0, B1, B2, B3. Similarly, there is a second dictionary which will be having column C and D and having the values C0, C1, C2, C3, D0, D1, D2, D3. Okay, so let me first of all execute this. Okay, my dictionaries have been created now. Now I can create data frame from these one by one. So suppose first data frame name is df1. Okay, so I said pd dot data frame. Nothing special you have to do. Just pass your dictionary name. Easiest way to create it. Okay, let me run this. Execute it. Again, let me create second data frame, df2, and this time I'm passing data 2 instead of data 1. Okay, and we can check both of those. We can check, suppose I'm checking df1. See what I said, we will have 2 columns A and B, and A will have the values A0, A1, A2, A3, B will have values B0, B1, B3. Can you check? A is having value A0, A1, A2, A3. B is having value B0, B2, B3. Same way, you can check your DF. See, C0, C1, C2, C3, D0, D1, D2, D3. Okay, so now this way, I'm giving just small example so that you can understand. I may take a other data set as well, but it will be difficult to understand because your rows will expand in multiple in numbers, your column will expand multiple in numbers. So you will not be able to visualize that. That's why I'm taking a small data set so that you can understand things better, how it is working. But simple. Same way you may get your data frames, DF1, DF2, and something. Now, moving that, suppose I want to concatenate them. As I said, concatenation is nothing but gluing together. I'm repeating, you know glue? What is glue? Glue is nothing but gum by which we stick things together. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm just typing, see, pd dot concat, pd dot concat, because I do need to do concatenation. Okay, bracket, create a list, and in this list, pass on your data frames, whether they are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, doesn't matter. As much as you have. How many you have? You have just 2 right now. So type df1, df2, and ensure how you want. First, you want to see df1 or first you want to see df2. And suppose I'm saving it inside because I'm combining them. So let me save into another data frame known as, suppose I'm giving the name access equal to access 0. I'll understand why I'm saying access 0. Okay, because by default here, axis equal to 0 is set. If you go here, see axis equal to 0 is set, and you'll understand what you mean by that. Means it is going to happen row wise. What is going to happen? This A will be taken, and beneath that means first of all A will appear, and beneath that your df2 will be stacked. Beneath that df2 will be stacked. Understand that. First of all, A will be taken, df1 will be taken, and beneath that your df2 will be glued. So my number of rows will be increased. Okay, I will get 8 rows. 4 rows are here and 4 rows are here. But how I will get it? You will understand once I run this and I show you. Axis 0. See what I'm getting. My rows have been increased. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. But how they have been pasted? See properly. They have different column names. They have different column names A, B, and C, D. That's why 100% assurance, because they are different columns. So we are going to get columns increased because they are having different columns for sure. They're having different columns. So I cannot put the value of C beneath A or beneath V. That is smart. Your pandas data frame is very much smart. Say this is another parameter, this is another parameter. How I can put the values of C inside A? How can I put the values of C? Suppose this is name and this is gender. So is it fine to put your gender's value below the name? No. It understand properly. This is a different parameter. This is a different parameter. This is a different parameter. So I cannot put them. So it will create new columns here, C and D. Okay. So once column are created, A, B, C, D. Okay. It will put the values corresponding to A and B beneath that. Okay. Beneath that. Perfectly fine. Now, below that will come down. Now the values of C and D will be inserted. Now the value of C and D will be inserted here. Below that, okay, under the C and D. Because we are doing x is equal to 0, the row has to be increased. So row has increased, but now C and D value will be inserted here, and rest of the places you will receive missing values. Nen. That's why it is very important to understand how your data frames are going to be concatenated. And same thing if I do, see, same thing if I do here and type axis1, axis equal to 1. Okay, let me run this and check axis equal to 1. This time what is going to happen? Remember, axis equal to 1, we are going to do concatenation How we are going to do concatenation? We're going to do concatenation column wise, means we will take this one. This was happening row wise. So that's why this df2 was put below df1. Now it won't happen. Now your df2 will place along with this one. Means here it will come. Here it will be pasted. Okay, here it will be pasted. Not rows will not increase now. Once you are doing x is equal to 1, rows will not increase. So let me run that. Sorry, what I typed. X is 1. Check please. I hope you got an idea perfectly now. Please tell me. See properly. I told you this is one of the complex things, not easy to come, but I am trying to explain in the layman language. They thus stuck the thing together. This is one data frame. This is second data frame. If I'm going to do concatenation along the x is equal to 0, it is just going to come below your first one. Okay, so number of rows to be increased, but as these are having different columns, we cannot put there for sure. We cannot put there. Or if you want to do that, you can do one thing. Let me show you. What is my df2 name? Df2 root columns is C and D. Okay, let me change them. Let me change them to suppose A and B now. Same as A. Okay, same as A. So I'm gonna type here A and I'm gonna type here B. Okay, this is the thing I created, perfectly created. Now I can check my df2. Okay, it is A and B. Fine, no issue with that. And if we check df1, it was also A and B. It is also A and B. Now see, if I perform this operation, this one, you will understand it now very well. They're having same column names. So will new columns be inserted in the df1? Can anyone tell me? If I operate this, what I will get? See, check, x is 0. Check it. C and D has not been inserted. Directly these values have been inserted here. I hope it is okay with everyone now. Got a perfect idea or not? Please tell me. See and tell me, please. Am I audible or not? Because I cannot hear anyone.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible? Okay. Others, please tell me, is it okay or not? What is happening here? Just glue your df2. It is saying that just glue your df2 below your df1. That's it, simple saying. And as the column names are same now, same and same. So first you will get this AB, A0, A1, A2, A3. Now this will be taken. And as the column name is same, A and B, directly these value will be pasted below them. As you can see that.
So one thing I would like to know,
Yes, sir, please.
the index will be repeated. For example, 0, 1, 2, 3,
Sir,
again it is repeating
yes.
0, 1, 2.
Actually, it is the same. It is doing this copy and pasting. It is not using any intelligence. It is not
But
using it.
suppose
But you can
we
change it.
want
You can change it
Okay.
immediately. See how can I change it? Suppose I just type index is equal to index, okay, equal to, see what I'm gonna do, range. How many entries are there? 8. So I'm gonna type
Ye-
just type 8. See, and your problem will be solved. Check. This is in our hand. X is 0. Please check it. Is it fine?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
It's in our hand. We can do anything we want in the pandas. We can just explore. And the best thing of learning pandas is that do experimentation. Let me try this. Okay, let me try this. Is it possible? Let me try this. Is possible? And this is the only way to learn. Okay. So understand, if column names are different, then your columns will be increased there, right? If column names are same, your columns will not be increased there. I hope it is okay with everyone now. Please say at least yes or no. I'll come to know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That
Yes,
is important, because that is important for me to understand what you are getting and what you are not getting. Is it fine?
Fine, sir, fine.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So please do practice of these. So let me take it one more thing. This was the concatenation. Now, second thing is merging of the tables or merging of data frames. Okay. Merging of data frames. Now, what is happening here? Understand. So again, I have two data sets, registrations and logins. Let me copy it here. Okay. Let me run this. Again, you can see these are nothing but dictionaries. Inside this, nothing but dictionary. So it has two columns, registration ID, 1, 2, 3, 4, name, this. Again, it has two columns, log ID, 1, 2, 3, 4, name, this. So let me create them, run them, and let me create two data frames from them. Suppose df1 again is equals to, okay, they are directly data frames only. So I don't have to see, I just can directly use them. Registrations. Okay, this is a registration having the ID 1, 2, 3, 4 and name this. Similarly, we can go here and logins. Okay, this is the thing. Now I want to merge them. Okay, now I want to merge them. The different way of merging are there. First, understand what kind of data set it is and when it is the requirement. This is one data frame, this is another data frame. Suppose I'm about to plan an event. Okay, I'm about to plan an event and ask you people to please register there. Okay, you did your registration there and you have been given a registration ID. Like 1, your name is Andrew, 2, Babu, this 3, this Claire, this 4, David. You did the registration. And I asked is about 1 month ago, prior to the event. So you did that. It happens sometimes, right? Means event is about to happen 1 month ago. I ask you, please, you are interested, please enroll. For now, what you will do, you will enroll there. But what happens sometimes when the event comes, if it is not important for you, you will not go there, right or wrong? You will not go over there. At that time, you enroll there, but when the end moment comes, you don't go there. Similarly, there will be few people who didn't enroll there, but they will reach the event directly. They will reach the event directly. And once they reach the event, I am recording their entry here. That is your logins. Okay. Some person came. His name is Xavier. And see, he didn't register online. He didn't register online. He came directly. And he was the first person to arrive. So I gave him an ID 1. Okay. Next person that came is Andrew. Next person who came is Andrew, right? And I assigned him login ID 2. And see, same person also did online registration as well. Online registration as well. Okay. Similarly, third person, Yolanda. This is Yolanda. Okay. He came. I did registration on the event itself, but he didn't did online registration. So his entry is not available in that table. Fourth person came was a Bobo. I gave him a login ID 4, and he also did online registration. Right? Now the requirement may be like, please tell me the name of those persons. Tell me the name of those persons who registered at both the places. Are you getting my point? Who registered at both the places. Okay, you got two data set. One data set you received of the online registration, another data set you received of the offline registration at the event itself. Now current requirement is, please tell me the name of those people who registered online and came at the event. Okay, and came at the event. So how can we do that? How can we do that? Simple. If we think logically, then what we want, if we can do intersection of names of this with the intersection of this, we will get only those names which are available common in both of these, right or wrong? Please tell me. You know the intersection, the common portion? Please tell me, is it fine or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please understand the logic. What is our requirement? I want to know This is one of the requirements. This is just one of the requirements. We will have other requirements as well as we do the merge operation. The requirement is that I want to know the name of those people who registered at both the places, online as well as offline. So one logic that immediately came to my mind is that if somehow I can do intersection of this column with the intersection of this column, then certainly I will be able to identify. Intersection is common in both of these. So I will be intersecting here. So I will get Andrew, right? Similarly, I will get Bob. And all these things, this is one of the example. Just one of the example. Sometimes you may be asking, please give me the all of the names. It doesn't matter. I need the name of all the people, whether they registered offline or whether they registered online. I need the name of all the people. So what do you have to do? You have to combine this with this, and you have to remove duplicates. Right? You can combine this table with this table and remove duplicates. That can be done. Is it fine, everyone? Please tell me.
Yes, sir.
So I think it is enough for the today. Please do practice till this point. Till this point only, means even before this merging of data frames, do practice. It is very much important whatever we have studied. Whatever we have studied, please do practice, because tomorrow probably I am going to give you a project. And you have to work on project, and project will be very simple. If you understand the concept, it is very easy. If you don't understand the concept, it's going to be very tough for you. Okay, and that is mandatory for submission for everyone. Mandatory for submission for everyone. You have to submit it at any cost. Okay, because it's a project. It's a mini project that you have to do. A real-time data set will be given to you. You have to perform analysis on that data set and find the insight from that data set. Okay, so tomorrow, probably in 30 minutes, I will be finishing this portion, merging and concatenation, and we will be starting our data visualization tomorrow itself. How to do data visualization. A small glimpse I've given you. A small glimpse I've given you by using .plot.bar. Okay, I've given a small hint to you. Even you can take any numerical data set, you can do easy plotting. Just very easy. I'll tell you, don't worry about it. But visualization is very important. And once the visualization is done, I will give you a capstone project. Once the visualization is finished, I will give you a capstone project in which you will do complete data analysis using visualization. And you have to give your conclusion as a data analyst. You have to give your conclusions. What should you recommend to your client? Okay, first I will give you a small project, that is a mini project based on pandas only, where you will be working on a data set and doing some kind of analysis, finding out insights. And second, once the data visualization will be completed, I will be giving you a capstone project. We'll be using your NumPy knowledge, your pandas knowledge, as well as your data visualization knowledge. You complete report you will be building on, and you have to submit that to your client, for example. Okay, so prepare yourself accordingly. Don't waste these times. If you are invested somewhere, okay, you have not spent a big money, but at least you have spent your precious time, right? Biggest thing is your precious time. And once you're spending your precious time, please utilize it properly. Any doubt in today's class till now, please? Anyone? Please tell me. Even a single doubt. Even a single doubt, please. At least say yes or no. I'll come to know.
No doubt, sir.
This sure, everyone? Okay, so I'm gonna share it with you, this file right now. Please do practice. Do practice. Otherwise, you're going to suffer. That makes no habit. At least if you're in second year or third year of the BTech, at least those people or who are in AmTech, please practice. Practice as much as we can. I'll give you at least 5-6 projects to work on. Okay, and make a good profile of them. Try to apply, but that you are applying directly without studying, you will be rejected immediately, because it is difficult for a data science to get a fresher it is difficult for a fresher to get a data science job. It is difficult. If you want to get a job as a fresher, you need to have a sound knowledge. You need to have a sound knowledge, because data science are heavily paid. Okay, one of my cousin, he's giving a very decent salary. You won't even imagine how much he will be getting. Can any idea? And he's barely 31 years old.